The floorboard creaks the way it used to do when you'd come home from working late. My heart forgets for just a second that it's you who decided love could wait. I turned to see an empty frame of light from the half-open bedroom door. Just a trick played by the lonely, aching night on a heart that's keeping score. You're just a ghost in the hallway, a whisper I can't catch, a memory replaying on a loop I can't detach. I feel you pass right through me, a shiver in the air, a haunting residue of a love that's no longer there. I find your hair still tangled in my brush, a single thread of faded brown in the deafening, overwhelming rush of silence that has settled down. I wear your old t-shirt to bed. It doesn't smell like you no more, just like fabric softener and dread, and the dreams I can't restore. You're just a ghost in the hallway, a whisper I can't catch, a memory replaying on a loop I can't detach. I feel you pass right through me, a shiver in the air, a haunting residue of a love that's no longer there. I don't believe in spirits or in souls, but I believe in habits deep and worn, and how an emptiness takes hold of a space where you were born. So haunt me then, if that's what this must be. I'll take your ghost instead of being free. At least it means you haven't left completely. At least a part of you is still here with me. Ghost in the hall, the quietest sound of all, echoing off the wall. Ghost in the hallway. The kettle whistled once, a lonely shrill goodbye. I pour the water over leaves and watch the steam rise high. I fixed it how you liked it, 2 sugars, milk, just so. A pointless little ritual I can't seem to forego. I let it sit beside me on the arm of my old chair, and watch the warmth die out into the cool, uncaring air. The surface forms a skin, a delicate discarded veil, a perfect metaphor for a love grown thin and pale. And it's just cold tea and regret, a bitter steep duet of all the words I didn't say before you chose to walk away. The leaves have settled at the bottom of the cup. All my what ifs and whys are slowly piling up. I drink it down, this tasteless, tepid, lonely brew, 'cause it's the closest thing I have to being close to you. Cold tea and regret. I used to love the ritual, the sharing of the pot, the way you take the first sip, tell me if it was too hot. Now every step's a solo act, a silent, slow ballet, performed for no one in the blue lit frame of another sleepless morning, another endless night, holding on to ceramic for a semblance of what's right. The mug grows colder minute by a lonely minute, and I'm just sitting stranded painfully within it. And it's just cold tea and regret, a bitter steep duet of all the words I didn't say before you chose to walk away. The leaves have settled at the bottom of the cup. All my what ifs and whys are slowly piling up. Maybe if I'd been warmer, maybe if I'd been sweet, maybe then this wouldn't be lying cold and obsolete. But maybe it's the coldest thing there is to drink. It makes you shiver on the inside, makes you stop and think of every tilt of head, every glance you misread, until you're just a statue with a cold cup filled with dread. Cold tea, no warmth for me, just the dregs of what used to be. Cold tea and regret. The door didn't slam, it sighed itself shut, a whisper of an antiphon, but the sound it made, that final soft release, has multiplied in the ensuing peace. It ricochets off every wall I own, a single note endlessly alone. It gathers strength from every silent night, turns from a whisper to a haunting. These echoes of goodbye, they never stop. They bounce from memories peak to valleys drop. The quiet, this is it. The held back cry replays and multiplies beneath this sky. It's in the rain, it's in the morning train, a relentless, gentle driving kind of pain. These echoes of goodbye. I fill the rooms with music, fill my ears to try and drown the echo of the years. But in the space between the songs' last beat, I hear the echo sounding just as sweet and just as fatal as it did back then. A loop I cannot break. Becomes a simple, solid sound, my own. These echoes of goodbye are growing faint, replaced by every color that I paint on the canvas of this new and empty air. They're just a distant whisper. Those echoes of goodbye, 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 goodbye. Your shadow on the wall is growing thin. There's lesser lights than us are coming in. The sharp-cut profile I knew by my touch is softening and doesn't hurt as much. You're blurring at the edges day by day, becoming just a shade of solid gray. I used to trace your outline in the dark. Now I can't find the defining familiar mark. You're a fading silhouette against my dawn, a memory of shape that's moving on. The details of your smile are first to go, then the way you held me soft and slow. You're not a photograph, you're not a stain, you're just a gentle loss, a parting rain, a fading silhouette. I try to summon you in sharp relief, to conjure up the darling, darling thief who stole my heart and left this quiet space. But your features are a watercolor trace. The love is real, but even it concedes the time slow working what the spirit needs. And maybe this is love's most gentle art, not to be forever set apart, but to become at your fading silhouette. Slide now, no more shadows, just You wrote them on the napkins, on the backs of receipts. Sweet nothings in your handwriting, so messy and so sweet. I'll always be your lighthouse, you said beneath the moon. A promise made in passion, destined to fall too soon. I pressed them in a journal, a fragile paper trail of every time your future plans with me began to sail. I didn't see the water seeping through the ink, turning all your always into something I couldn't think. They were paper-thin promises, folded into boats that couldn't float, words that dissolved in the rain, stuck in the back of my throat. I believed in the crease of the fold, in the story your letters told. Now they're just paper worn and old, a heart too fragile to hold. Paper-thin promises. If this one tore so easily, or maybe not tonight. A subtle shift in weather, the dimming of the light. Then came the wind that caught them, sent them scattering like birds. The most devastating silence I've ever heard. I'm left here with the confetti of vows we used to make, sweeping up the pieces with every breath I take, trying to reconstruct a map from shreds of you and me, but it's just a papier-mâché tragedy. They were paper-thin promises, folded into boats that couldn't float, words that dissolved in the rain, stuck in the back of my throat. I believed in the crease of the fold, in the story your letters told. Now they're just paper worn and old, a heart too fragile to hold. The strongest things are built of stone, of steel, of solid ground. But we built our world on sentiments, on whispered weightless sound. And when the storm came through, the storms are always prone to do, it didn't shake the foundations, it just blew the whole thing through. Now I'm afraid of any promise, scared of any written word. The most beautiful sentences are the cruelest ever heard. Paper burned so fast, a future that couldn't last, just ashes from our past. Paper-thin, paper-thin, paper-thin. feel it in the chill when I walk in an unkept vow never to begin. It whispers from the corners, just you wait. A phantom limb of an impending fate. You swore the future with a steady gaze. Now it just haunts my solitary days. It doesn't rattle chains or slam a door. It just stands there expecting more. The ghost of a promise, intangible gray. It follows me from sunrise into day. A whispered soon, a forever left unsaid. A future picture now completely dead, but its impression lingers in the air. A subtle crush and then profound despair. This ghost of a promise. I redecorate, I try to change the vibe, to exercise what we could not describe. But promises and furniture to move, they're in the atmosphere, in every groove of how I saw my life, my world, my name. Now just a source of quiet, constant shame. What do you do when what haunts you isn't past, but a future that simply could not last? You can't mourn something that never came to be, only the loss of its possibility. So I'll speak to the ghost with love and rage. You are cancelled, exit from my stage. Your time is done. I'm banishing the ghost of that promise, reclaiming all the space that it upon is. The maybe and the someday lose their power in this decisive singular new hour. It fades like mist in morning's honest light, revealing just my own unpromised right to be here, ghost free. The sirens have all gone quiet now. The dust is settling on the house. The frantic energy of the final fight has dimmed into this permanent night. I walk the battlefield, survey all the beautiful things we lost and tossed. And in the stillness there's a hollow ring, a space too big for any single thing. This hollow aftermath, this quiet ground, where not a single living sound is found. Just the echo of my breath, the lonely tide in the canyon where our loved ones died. It's not the breaking that defines the pain, it's this vast unending thought forever could. The warmth is temporary, faint and small, but it's a signal that I feel it all. In this great emptiness you left behind, a testament to my own mind. And hollowness is just a form of space, awaiting an uncarved open place. It feels like loss, it feels like being erased, but it's a canvas bare, and yet it's faced with potential for a different, softer sun. The hollow aftermath has just begun. This hollow aftermath, my new estate, a blank page where I can delineate the borders of a life that's just my own, no longer built on your uncertain stone. The echo fades, replaced by my own voice, making a complicated chosen noise in the hollow aftermath. It's hollow, but it's mine, and it's clean. I can't remember the exact shade of your eyes, if they were storm cloud gray or summer sky surprise. I can't recall the specific song that was playing when we kissed, just a feeling of existing in a gentle golden mist. The details are all bleeding, a watercolor run, leaving just the impression of when we were young and sure. And forever was a tangible, soft thing, not the ghost of a feeling to which I desperately cling. I'm living in the shadow of a memory, a silhouette where you were next to me, the outline of a laugh, the shape of we, the darkness proving light. I can no longer see, it's blooded all the edges, soft and indistinct, a faded treasured photograph whose colors are extinct. And I can't force the focus, can't make the image clear, I just live inside the shadow, holding what was dear. I know we had a favorite spot, a table by a tree, but the cafe's name is lost to the fog inside of me. I know your hand felt right in mine, a perfect puzzle fit, but the texture of your palm is a fact I must admit I've lost. What stays is warmer, heavier than facts, a melancholy wisdom from a beautiful broken pact. Not the what or where or when, but the hollow aching word that paints your shadow long against the evening sky. A silhouette where you were next to me, the outline of a laugh, the shape of we, a darkness proving light. I can no longer see, it's blurred at all the edges, soft and indistinct. Perhaps the heart is merciful in its confusing way. It lets the sharp facts soften so happiness, the shadow of a face. Sing me calm when storms rage inside my head. A melody you plucked from somewhere beautiful you'd read. Your voice a warm blanket, your hand a steady weight. You sing until the panic dies inside of me, babe. But you are the storm I couldn't weather in the end. The hurricane that took my harbor, my lover and my friend. And now the only song I know is sung by breaking waves that chant your name inside the echo of these ocean caves. This is my saltwater lullaby, a ragged weeping, endless cry. The sea is in my lungs, the tide is in my eye, rocking beneath the barren sky. It hums of shipwrecks and of shores, of closed and locked and bolted doors. It pulls me down to the ocean floor to sleep where we sang before. My saltwater lullaby. I taste you on my lips each morning, salty and profound. A mineral reminder of the love that I have drowned. I try to swim the surface, try to gasp for cleaner air, but the weight of what we sank is more than any soul can bear. I've memorized the sound the waves make on this empty beach. It's the rhythm of a heart that's broken past the point of speech. A metronome, a morning set to the slowest, saddest speed. A lullaby for a love that's gone, for a solitary need. This is my saltwater lullaby, a ragged weeping, endless cry. The sea is in my lungs, the tide is in my eye, rocking beneath the barren sky. It hums of shipwrecks and of shores, of closed and locked and bolted doors. It pulls me down to the ocean floor. What do you do when the singer becomes the sea? When the comfort is the very thing that swallows you wholeheartedly. You learn to breathe the brine, you learn to love the deep. You trade your dreams for coal, your promises to keep. For the pressure and the quiet, for the blue and lonely glow of a sunken city made of us from a lifetime long ago. Hush now, don't you weep. found the playlist that you made for my drive. Songs about forever, keeping love alive. I pressed play in the dark of the garage tonight and heard your voice singing, soft and out of sight. Not your real voice, but the one you picked for me. The soundtrack to a way that ceased to be. Every chord a memory, every note a ghost of the part of me I valued, loved and lost the most. And now I'm chasing fading echoes of us, a whisper in the canyon of my trust, a distant shout of joy that turned to rust, leaving only quiet, leaving only dust. The sound is getting softer with each setting sun, a little more undone, a little less the one that could fill the silence when the day is done. Just fading in echoes, one by one. I stood in rooms where our laughter used to bounce off the walls and ceilings, a joyful loud account. Now the air absorbs the sound, thick and profound, and the quiet that it leaves is the loudest I have found. I try to recreate the jokes, the silly secret names, but they leave my lips as ashes, just silent burning flames. The echo doesn't answer, it just lingers and then dies, reflected in the hollow of my eyes. And now I'm chasing fading echoes of us, a whisper in the canyon of my trust, a distant shout of joy that turned to rust, leaving only quiet, leaving only dust. The sound is getting softer with each setting sun, a little more undone, a little less the one that could fill the silence when the day is done. Is it better to strain, to hear the very final trace, or to surrender fully to the empty open space, to admit the song is over, the singers have left the stage, and turn the final fading echo to a memory on a page? But my heart's a stubborn auditory, I'm refusing to turn the light, holding on to the after vibration of a vanished sacred night. Echo, where did you go? Fainter than a shadow, softer than the snow. Fading echoes, echoes. Our story wasn't the main sentence, it seemed, not the bolded headline of my lifelong dreams, but a beautiful aside, a tucked-in phrase, a burst of color in my ordinary days. You were the explanation, sweet and deep, a secret that my soul was meant to keep. And every story needs a place to pause, for clarity, for meaning, for the cause. We were the parentheses of us, a contained and temporary thus, a whisper secret to the narrative, a stunning vital way to live, enclosing something perfectly. And then the sentence had to way again, outside the parentheses. of us. I'm riding forward now, the text goes on. The morning comes, the previous night is gone. But sometimes in a footnote or a thought, I visit where our little world was raw, and smile at the beauty that we penned before the story had to find its end. Maybe the greatest loves don't claim the page, but live inside a quiet, sacred stage. They don't demand the plot revolve around, but make the ordinary text profound. So I'll close the bracket gently with a kiss, grateful for the supplemental bliss. We were the parentheses, a perfect curve, a haven I am happy to preserve. Not the whole book, but a defining part that changed the rhythm of this trusting heart. The sentence continues different, but it's true. It's richer for the depth it found in you. In the parentheses of us. A perfect pause. Now come on, and on I go. We drew it all in ink, a perfect plan. The porch, the kids, the growing old, a span of decades mapped in confident straight lines. A future where our separate light combines. I folded up the blueprint, held it tight. A contract made of hope and candlelight. But you took the paper and I heard the tear, a sound that split the confidential air. This shattered blueprint lying at my feet, a mosaic of the future, now obsolete. Every room we planned is jagged glass. Every always just a question that won't pass. The foundation sketch is ripped beyond repair, and I'm just standing stunned in the debris filled air with this shattered blueprint. I try to piece the corners, match the lines, find where your I do met my your mind. But the edges cut my fingers deep and sure, a pain both schematic and impure. I can't rebuild the vision that we drew. The architect in me is broken too. So I sweep the pieces in one clean pile. shattered blueprint. My pain, new ground. My hands, I cried ocean in a silent room. Each drop of punctuation in the gloom. They fell on photos, letters, and the floor. A salty flood for a love that's no more. But water dries as everyone assumes, leaving a different kind of ghost that looms. A residue, a whisper in the grain, a map of where I weathered all the pain. It's a tear-stained echo, a permanent trace, not the water itself, but its lingering space in the warp of the wood. Paper soft swell, a story the surface has learned how to tell. It echoes the sound, not the sound, but the swell. A monument carved in the wishing well of a tear-stained echo. I run my fingers over where it fell, a topography of my personal hell, and then my heaven. All love we knew is fossilized in this translucent hue. It's not a scar that's angry raised or red, it's just a softer place where I once bled. And maybe grief's not something to erase, but to see the changes the landscape's face. It carves new canyons of capacity for depths of joy I have yet to see. The echo isn't here to bring me down, but to remind me how deep I can drown and still surface to breathe. This tear-stained echo, my companion now, a silent understanding on my brow. It doesn't scream, it doesn't plead or yearn, it just is a lesson slowly learned, that the deepest love leaves the deepest mark, not in the dark, but in the afterdark, in the tear-stained echo. It's dry to the touch, but it remembers everything. We build it from cobwebs, Christmas light streams from the most fragile and beautiful things. A palace of glances, a cathedral of touch. We never imagined it could be too much. Each secret a brick, each kiss was the mortar. We built it so high, right up to the border of heaven. We thought on a foundation of song, too blind to see all the places it was wrong. This fragile architecture is shaking at the core. We built it for a picture, but forgot to check the floor. It's leaning in the wind now, a beautiful dome design, with every memory pinned now to a love past its deadline. This fragile architecture. I see the blueprints were drawn in the sand by two hopeful hearts holding each other's hand. We ignored the first cracks, called them character charm. We thought our together could weather the harm, but the weight of the silence, the frost of a doubt, was the tremor that started to bring it all out. Now the plaster is dust and the beams are all bare, and I'm standing in just breathing the air. This fragile architecture is shaking at the core. We built it for a picture, but forgot to check the floor. It's leaning in the wind now, a beautiful doom design, with every memory pinned now to a love past its deadline. Do I try to rebuild with the rubble that's left, or just sit in the wreckage completely bereft? Admire the wreck of the dream we conceived, and finally allow myself to be grieved. There's a certain stark beauty in how it now falls, in the answering echo of the last hollow calls of I love you that bounce across the skeletal beams in this museum of our impossible dreams. It's falling, I'm calling, but no one's there at all. Just the fragile architecture of our fall. The world is sleeping, but my mind's a broken screen, tuned to a channel where the nothing's evergreen, flickering with shadows of the show we used to start, and now it's just a fuzz of where you are and where you aren't. I searched the doubts inside my chest, a desperate, frantic scan for any signal from the void, from the forgotten man who used to transmit love so clear on this frequency. Now all I get is noise where our connection used to be. It's just midnight static, a low humming, hopeless magic, searching for your frequency, but you're not broadcasting to me. Just the hiss of empty space, the snow on a forgotten face, a silent screaming electric sea that's drowning out what's left of me. Just midnight static. I try to remember your laugh, the specific sound, but it's corrupted data, lost and never found. A pixelated memory, a glitch in my recall, a silent movie playing on a crumbling wall. The colors are all bleeding, the audio's a mess, just digital decay and emotional distress. I'd give anything for clear reception, just one line to know you're out there somewhere and that you were ever mine. It's just midnight static, a low humming, hopeless magic, searching for your frequency, but you're not broadcasting to me. Just the hiss of empty space, the snow on a forgotten face, a silent screaming electric sea that's drowning out what's left of me. Maybe love's a weak signal in a cosmic storm, a temporary pattern in a uniform, an overwhelming noise of being all alone. We catch a glimpse, we build a home, and then it's gone. We're just receivers, faulty, frail, and prone to break, left with the static and the choices that we make. Searching, scanning, no signal found, just the hollow, empty sound of midnight static and me tuned out. I bought a chair to fill the corner of the room, the one you said would always feel too soon. Together we'd find the perfect one someday. Well, someday left and the corner's here to stay. It's not the right chair, it's too stiff and too near. It doesn't suit the ghost of your bare feet. Propped on the coffee table, it just sits and highlights all the empty, awkward bits. 'Cause I'm navigating the space you left, a cavern in my chest, a hollow theft. I bump into its edges, soft and fast, a reminder that nothing good can last. It's not just physical, it's in the air, the space between undefined and true despair. I try to decorate it, try to fill, but it's a void nowhere the space you left, the space you left. There's space inside my schedule, Wednesday nights. Our cabin's now devoid of city lights. We walk beneath your hand tight, wrapped in mine. Now I just watch the clock and walk the line between remembering and falling into the great big empty where we might have been. It has its own gravity, this silent light. It always, always pulls me stumbling back, and I'm navigating the space you left. A cavern in my chest, a hollow thread. I bump into its edges, soft and vast. A reminder that nothing good can last. It's not just physical, it's in the air. The space between our find and true despair. People say you'll find someone new to fit it. They don't understand, they just don't get it. This space was custom made by your design. Your laugh, your thoughts, your hands slipped into mine. No generic love can fill a custom shape despair. It's your space, and it's empty. You're not there. The space you live is all I have. The space you live. The list is longer than I first believed. A ledger kept in my heart, quietly weaved, of all the I'm sorry's caught behind my teeth. That hurt me's buried just beneath. The trips we penciled, circled in the sun. A lifetime of the said and the undone. And now the book is closed, the pen is dry, and all those words just whisper why. It's the unsaid and undone that anchors me down. The ghost has haunts in this ghost town. The let's talk tomorrow that never came. The unsung ballad without a name. It's the weight of potential forever curved. I never introduced to this world a universe of unsaid and undone. Clean the closet, find a souvenir, a brochure for a place we never get near. Someday you said, and someday felt so real, a tangible thing I thought we'd feel. Now someday is the saddest word I know, a destination I will never go. I'm sorry, I I didn't fight for you more. I'm sorry I let you walk out that door. I'm sorry we never made it to the sea. I'm sorry you never got the best of me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm done. This catalog of unsaid and undone is how I know our story's truly gone. Not with a bang, a finished, fought or tried, but with the whimper of the love that died inside the quiet, cowardly retreat and the silent, steady, slow defeat of the unsaid. I release the words, I forgive the plans. I am here with my empty hands. It's not the missing of your specific touch, or even that I needed you so much. It's the presence of the absence, the sheer mass of the empty space you occupy to less. It has a gravity, it pulls things in a quiet, dancing, slow rolling chagrin. My thoughts orbited, my emotions bent around the place where you just end. It's the weight of the void, a negative space with a density that time cannot erase. It sits in the room, it sits in my chest, a heavy, hollow and unyielding guess. Not a memory, not a ghost, not a trace of light, just the sheer brutal weight of the everlasting night, the weight of the void. I try to fill it with distractions, sound, other people, other places, other ground, but it's a black hole swallowing the noise, leaving behind none of the fleeting joys. It consumes the light of anything that's new, till all that's left is the void and getting through. But physicists say even voids can birth a star from the crushing pressure of what is and what are. This weight, this pressure, this incredible strain might be forming something from the pain. Not you, not us, but a core of something pure of me that distance, emptiness will cure. I'll carry the weight of the void for a while. Let it compress my tears into a diamond style. Let it teach my soul its own specific heat, until the pressure makes my own heart beat. A rhythm strong enough to hold this space and finally fill the void with my own grace and my own weight. The day puts on a brave, forgetful face, but midnight's truth admits it has no grace. As when the bloom we nurtured in the light reveals the creeping, permanent blight. Its petals curl inward, a desperate fist in the cold blue moonlight's unforgivingness. No witness but the stars, and they don't care. They just watch beauty dying in the air. We withered at midnight, slow and sure, when there was no pretending, no cure. The love that stretched so tall in afternoon sun gave up the ghost when the day was done. It wasn't sudden, it was a silent release, a folding in, a finding of no peace. We withered at midnight. I'd hold your hand as daylight trickled out, feel the vitality begin to doubt. A subtle chill will climb from root to stem, and I cling tighter, trying to save from them. From the honest, dark and lonely hour, the stolen color drained our vibrant power. And maybe some loves are just day blooms meant for brilliant light and for that light span. They cannot stand the scrutiny of moon. The naked silver questions asked too soon. So I'll stop trying to make it stay alive, and thank the bloom for how I used to thrive. At midnight, it's all fate, a closing chapter written far too late. The stem goes brittle, the color turns to dust, a victim of the evening's cool mistrust. But in my memories everlasting new, I'll visit you, my beautiful lost bloom, that withered at midnight. The sun will rise on you stopped it, we should probably talk about, and left the bout to linger filled with doubt. A clause without a predicate, a subject on its own, stranded in the living room, a seed that wasn't sown. I've written every ending on the ceiling in the dark, a question mark that severed every lifeline, every spark. Was it the rent, the silence, the trip we didn't take? My God, just finished saying it, for heaven trapped inside an unfinished sentence, suspended in the tense of past repentance, waiting for the period, the closing of the quote. But all I have is this damn lump inside my throat, this dangling conjunction, this and that leads to none, this brutal open doorway where you turned your back and run. I'm begging for the grammar close instead of this forever. That just my life's become a paragraph you left mid edit, full of red suggestions. I can't bring myself to credit. Delete the we, insert the I, revise the future tense. It doesn't make a narrative that offers recompense. I try to write the next line, try to find the plot, but I'm just circling the one thing that you left to rot in the middle of the page, in the middle of the floor, in the middle of a love that isn't anymore. I'm trapped inside an unfinished sentence, suspended in the tense of past repentance, waiting for the period, the closing of the quote. But all I have is this damn lump inside my throat, this dangling conjunction, this and that leads to none. Maybe didn't know the words, maybe you lost the thread, maybe the thought of saying them filled you with too much dread. But your silence was a period in a font a mile high. I'm the one left reading it beneath the hollow sky, learning that the cruelest stories aren't the ones that end, but the ones that just stop, leaving you to pretend. We should probably talk about